I want to ask you something right off the top. How many times have you pushed yourself to do more, be more productive, have more growth, more healing, more success, and your body just wouldn't cooperate? You were exhausted, overwhelmed, stuck, and probably chronically sick or often physically sick. And from my experience, it's not a discipline or mindset problem, it's a regulation problem. And today we're going to talk about why that actually is the place every single thing starts. So stay with me because this episode might be the missing piece you've been looking for. Hey, my friend, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you found this channel. I'm Samantha, and this channel is about one thing, helping you come back to yourself through your body, through healing, through your voice, and through building a life that actually feels like yours. And today we're kicking off something special. I've been building this for a long time. This is episode 1 of the Rooted Method. Vanna White. The Rooted Method is a 6-part framework I created based on years of my own personal healing journey, my background as a nurse, and my deep study of body-based transformation and nervous system-led growth. It is built around one core belief. You don't need more information. You need a process that brings you back to yourself. The framework follows 6 principles, and together they spell rooted: regulated, observed, open, trusted, expand, and direct. Each letter is a stage. Each stage builds on the last, and together they create a complete path, not just to healing, but to a life that you are fully rooted in, body, soul, in that richness, that expansion, that wealth of life. Over the next 6 weeks, we are going through each letter together, one episode, one principle, 1 week at a time, and we are starting at the very foundation because everything, and I mean everything, starts here. The R stands for regulate, safety before expansion. Before I get into the teaching for today, I want to tell you something personal because this isn't just a framework I built from research, it's one that I've lived and embodied. If you tuned into last week's episode, over 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with chronic autoimmune disease. My immune system was attacking itself, and conventional medicine wanted me to start with prescription medications with very bad side effects. But I had a quiet knowing inside that said, wait, there's another way. So I started doing the work. And one of the very first steps I had to address before herbs, before a diet change, before anything else was my nervous system. Because my body was in a constant state of alarm, stressed, overstimulated, undernourished, running on empty, and a body that was in a state where it really couldn't heal. It was just too busy surviving. When I started regulating, everything else began to work. My body started to respond, my healing started to accelerate, and I realized that this wasn't just about autoimmune disease. This was the foundation of every single area of my life. That's why we start here. That's why we regulate. The first letter is R, regulate, because you cannot build anything lasting, your health, your peace, your purpose, your wealth, on an unregulated nervous system. Well, I would like to talk about a little bit about like what regulation actually means because I want to go deeper than just manage your symptoms or your stress. Your nervous system is the command center of your entire body. It is constantly, every second, scanning your environment and asking one thing: am I safe? And based on the answer to that question, it determines everything: your hormone levels, your immune function, digestion, the ability to think clearly, make decisions, your emotional health, how you can connect with other people, and heal. Yes, heal is one of them as well, obviously. When your nervous system perceives threat, whether that's a real physical danger or chronic stress, unresolved trauma, poor sleep, overstimulation, not saying what you want to say when you need to say it, or what many of us suffer from these days is an overpacked schedule with no rest. It activates your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, and in that state, your body is not interested in healing, any growth, creativity, connection, abundance. It's interested in one thing, and that's survival. This is why like so many high achieving people, women, mothers, women who are doing everything right on paper but still feel stuck, sick, and like they're pushing against a wall. Many are trying to grow from a state of survival, and you cannot expand what hasn't first been made safe. Regulation is the process of bringing your nervous system out of survival mode and into a state where your body feels safe enough to heal, receive, create, and grow. That is what we are building in the first stage. That is the foundation. Inside the rooted method, there are 5 pillars, and we're focusing on the regulation stage. So we'll go through them. Pillar number 1 is routines. So your nervous system loves predictability, just not rigid schedules, but just predictability when your body knows what to expect. It doesn't have to stay on high alert. It can relax into the rhythm of the day because it trusts what's coming next. A simple routine, an evening routine, even 15 minutes on each, can signal nervous system safety. There's a structure there, so there's a safety there. But I want to note here, I'm not talking about a perfect 5 a.m. routine with cold plunges and detox green smoothies that will make you throw up. And I want to note here, I'm not talking about a perfect 5 a.m. routine with cold plunges and detox smoothies. I'm talking about something consistent that you can actually do, something that says to your body every day, I will show up and I'm going to start the day with ease, a little bit of ease, even if it's just 15 minutes. So we have to ask, like, what is the first thing your body is experiencing when you wake up and the last thing before you go to sleep? Those two bookends set the tone for your entire nervous system's daily rhythm. They matter more than most of us realize. And on to pillar number 2, sleep and nourishment. I'm putting these together because they are the most basic, the most powerful, overlooked forms of regulation. So, sleep is not a luxury. Sleep is when your nervous system repairs itself, your brain does a detox, and when your immune system does its most critical work, and your brain processes stress, emotions, and consolidates memory, and also, your body rebuilds. It's resting. It's a necessity. If you are chronically undersleeping, and so many of us are, everything else you do for your health is working against a deficit. You are pouring into a leaking cup, swimming upstream, or, up a creek without a paddle. So let's talk about nourishment, not just dieting or any restrictions, not performing this wellness. Um, what am I trying to say? Trend. We want to give your body real, whole, anti-inflammatory foods, herbs that support your system, meals that feel like an act of care rather than an act of punishment or obligation or dread. If you need help with food, I actually have a guide. You can comment anti-inflammatory guide below, and I will send you the link for that. A little side note here, I'm very passionate about chronic use of antacids. I actually wrote an article about that as well. If you're on chronic antacids and you want to get off, um, I'll send you the article as well. So just comment that you want that. If we want nourishment, we need to be able to absorb what we're eating, and antacid use chronically will suppress that. So if you don't have really good stomach acid, the pill is actually lowering your stomach acid, so you're not able to absorb the nutrients, and cascade, you have more symptoms from that as well. When your body is consistently well nourished, it sends a deeply regulated signal. I am provided for, there is enough, I am safe, and that's where that signal is repeated consistently over time. That is your natural medicine. Pillar number 3, grounding and reducing overstimulation. We are living in the most overstimulated period in human history. Notifications, news, all these cycles of noise, social media, obligations, short form content, Chronic screen use, our nervous systems were simply not built to process the volume of input and also all the suffering and of other people and all the opinions of other people. So I hope to really be a channel for y'all to come back to the basics and ground and be a support system for that because I want us all to have a strong foundation. When your nervous system is chronically overstimulated, it cannot regulate. It stays stuck in a low level state of alarm, even when nothing is technically wrong. Grounding is how we come back. Time in nature, feet on the earth directly, sun on your skin, on your face, some silence, some stillness. These are regulatory tools that work at a physiological level. They are some of the most powerful and most accessible medicines we have, and they're completely free. Reducing overstimulation means just being intentional, even protective about what you allow into your nervous system, what you scroll, what you watch, what conversations you participate in, what energy you let into your space. Your nervous system absorbs all of it. Every single input becomes data that it's processing and responding to, and you have the power to curate that. Pillar number 4, movement. Movement is one of the primary ways your body processes and discharges stress and stored emotions. I want to be very clear here. I'm not talking about strenuous exercises that almost feel like punishment. I'm not talking about grinding through workouts because you feel guilty or because you're trying to earn something. I am talking about the intentional movement that feels like you're moving something through you, walking in nature, stretching, dancing in your kitchen, weightlifting outside on a patio when you can, swimming, whatever it is that makes you feel like your body is being expressed rather than punished. Trauma and chronic stress, technically, in my opinion, they do live in the body because they cause this tension. So you have this muscle memory where you're just fixated in a certain position. Movement is one of the most direct pathways to regulate that. When you move with intention, when you let your body do what it's designed to do, you're not just exercising, you're releasing. Pillar number 5, breathing. The most immediate powerful tool in this entire stage is your breath. It is the only function of your autonomic nervous system that you can consciously control. Everything else, your heart rate, your digestion, your immune response, happens automatically, but your breath, you can actually direct it, which means it is a direct line between your conscious mind and your nervous system. When you breathe slowly and deeply, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest state. Your cortisol levels drop, your heart rate slows down, your blood pressure decreases. Your digestion is activated and your immune system functions better. Your body receives the signal that it's not in danger, we can rest, and we can heal. And I'll share this. It could be something as simple as breathing in for 4 counts, holding, and breathing out for 6. Done intentionally just for 5 minutes will cause a significant shift in your nervous system, and you can actually notice it. If you close your eyes and you do it, and then when you open your eyes at the end of 5 minutes, you'll feel so refreshed. It's amazing. Everything's more vibrant as well. And of course, I'll always like to zoom out the bigger picture. I want to close this out with something I really want to say to you. Regulation is not the boring prerequisite you have to get through before the real work starts. Regulation is the real work. It is the most foundational, most powerful investment you will ever make, not just in your health, but in your ability to build the life you actually dream of, you actually want to live. Because the truth is that hustle culture will never tell you you cannot think your way into a regulated body, you cannot manifest your way into a regulated body. You cannot push, grind, or optimize your way into a regulated body. You have to feel your way there very slowly, consistently, with a lot of compassion. A regulated body can hold more joy, success, love, abundance, everything that you're working towards. An unregulated body, no matter how disciplined or motivated or talented, will keep hitting the same ceiling because your nervous system will keep pulling you back to what is familiar. And familiar oftentimes means stuck. This is body-based transformation. This is what the rooted method is built on, and it is the exact opposite of everything mainstream culture has been selling you for the past 6 to 8 years. You don't need to push harder. You don't need to add so much more to your life. You need to just feel safer. And from a place of safety, everything else becomes not just possible, but natural. Here's your invitation for this week. Pick one pillar from today, just one, commit to it for the next 7 days before our next episode. Maybe it's creating a simple 5-minute morning routine, maybe committing to getting to bed 30 minutes earlier, maybe spending 10 minutes more outside every day with your feet on the ground. Maybe it's 5 minutes of intentional breathing before you pick up your phone in the morning. Just pick one thing, start with it, because regulation doesn't happen in a single dramatic moment. It happens in the quiet, consistent daily choices to come back to yourself. Next week, we will move to second letter O, observe, because once your body starts to feel safe, you can finally see yourself clearly, and awareness, as I always say, creates choice. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss next week's episode, and drop a comment right now. Tell me which pillar you're committing to this week. I will read your comment and I will be right there with you. Thank you so much for being here. This is just the beginning. I'll see you next week. So remember, keep coming home to yourself.